Hi, and welcome to The Return. Here's to everything we'll discover together. Hi, and welcome to The Returned, a place where we share near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, spiritual awakenings, signs from spirit, and the journeys of healers and lightworkers from around the world. If you enjoy this type of content, please like, subscribe, and share to make sure you don't miss out on another episode. Now, with that out of the way, today I'm truly honored to sit with Dr. Laurence Brock. After a life-changing near-death experience in 1976, Dr. Brock dedicated himself to spiritual healing and helping others find meaning and transformation. Laurence, welcome to The Returned.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very
I love
welcome.
to do this. I love to talk about this, and it's great to share.
You know, I can really tell when I look at you, you are just glowing always. Every time I've
I
seen
just
you on
love it.
videos,
It makes
you're
me
so
smile and
glowy.
sound like a little kid all the time. It's
Isn't
just,
that nice?
yeah.
Oh, I love to hear that. Laurence, before we dive deep into your near-death experience, do you think that you could maybe take us back a little bit, and kind of give us a sense of who you were, what your beliefs were, and how old you were?
Well, I was 22 when my near-death experience happened. I'm 71 now, so some
Oh,
years
wow.
ago. And, I was just thinking about that today because I think of my life and in a way how honorable I am compared to what a wild kid I was. It's like, when I think of it, I live in a house in the suburbs and on the board at a church. I'm a minister. I have my doctorate, I have a postgraduate degree. These are things that require being steady and stable in something. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I was. Sometimes people ask me, what's the craziest thing you ever did? And I have some very crazy things. One is when I don't know how old I was, but there down the street from where I lived, there were these new houses being built, and the foundations were all built. So it was like cement, square in the ground like this. And I decided, oh, this is a great opportunity to throw a Molotov cocktail and
No.
without hurting anybody. So I got a bottle and put gasoline in it and a rag and lit it and threw it, and the whole thing filled up with
Oh,
fire. No one got hurt, but that was kind of my mentality. But I think in a certain way, something about the excitement is still what I seek today. It's just I realized that in these wild, crazy, adrenaline rushing things, that's not really the greatest thrill. That the spiritual
mm.
part and connecting to God and healing people and helping people is really where that thrill really is.
Were you religious back then?
No,
No.
was born in a Jewish family, and
Mm.
my dad had been in a family that was very strictly Jewish. I think my mom was a little more liberal because she was not, uh, not against Christmas, basically, which a lot of Jewish people were back then. And so I did go to Hebrew school and had I guess, a liberal Jewish upbringing, but
Mm-hmm.
the things, even back then, the things that really caught my attention were the mystical things that were in the Old Testament. And,
Ah.
then later on, after my near-death experience, I read some of the New Testament, and still those things that Jesus did that were like being a healer and, being mystical. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that really caught my attention.
That is very interesting that you were causing all that ruckus back then and being quite the handful, I take it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just really glad my kids are reasonably good compared to me. That's
Do you think, just before we lead into what
Yeah,
happened to you in 1976 there, do you think that maybe the near-death experience happened for that reason to kind of put you on a different path?
definitely. And as I
Mm.
say all the time, if I was paying attention, because I did have spiritual, mystical, magical things happen to me, and I just kind of ignored them. I think part of that was it was really part of my nature to experience those things. And I just, in one way, I just didn't have the information in my mind. I was taught basically go to school, get a job kind of thing. And yeah, I say it a lot. If I was paying attention, I wouldn't have had to have my head cracked open for me to get the message.
Right. Oh my goodness. Can you walk us through your near-death experience and how and what happened?
Yes. So I was brought up in the Northeast of the United States, about 20 miles north of Manhattan. I went to undergraduate school in Arizona, and then after that, I was living in Colorado. Where I had always loved cooking, so I got a job in a restaurant and worked my way up to second chef. And it was a partying lifestyle. We'd go there. We used to buy these little 7-ounce Michelobes and put them in the refrigerator. So there's this metal shelf there to put the food on, and we'd bend down and quickly guzzle 7-ounce Michelobes. And
Oh
you
my
could
goodness.
pot was illegal back then, but we could smoke pot back there because there were these big fans. And the head chef, who was an exquisite chef, was also like a motorcycle guy. So it was so interesting to see this guy. I mean, now tattoos are so normal, but back then someone had tattoos and he'd wear a blue jean jacket with the sleeves cut off, and you'd never guess. I mean, he was an amazing chef. So, but we were pretty wild. And so my roommate in Colorado was a friend of mine from childhood. We moved out there separately, just happened to end up there and met up, and but we decided to drive back east to visit our parents. And he had this great Datsun 280Z, this really fun sports car to drive. So we drove his car back and basically drove the 1,800 miles from Colorado to Westchester, New York, straight through. we he dropped me off at my parents' house. I said hello. They were happy to see me. And it was before cell phone. So I, you know, hardly ever talked to my parents. My daughter's in college. I text her, a few times a week. It's like, but,
Right.
so my parents were really happy to see me. And I slept for a while and woke up, and my friend, he had found out about a party from someone else we went to high school with. So we went to the party. I took my mom's Ford Bobcat. We were there, partying. I still remember, I mean, it was a happening party with loud music. The rooms were all crowded with people kind of dancing, but you also had to squeeze through to get through the crowd. And I kind of came up with a plan that I would pretend I was higher than I thought I was so I could tell the girl I was leaving my car there and have an opportunity to flirt with her the next day because the party was too noisy to do stuff like that. And
Oh, the 70s, hey?
70s, being in my 20s, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yes, it was, things were so different back then, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Even to it wasn't such a big deal to drink and drive. Like nowadays, I would never do that.
Right?
And
Yeah.
so I had my friend drive me back to my parents, but almost there, I remembered my sister needed my mom's car the next day. So I told my friend, we got to go back. And, I
Mm.
went to get my car. I went in to tell the girl I was taking my car because I had told her I was going to leave it there. And I remember walking through the crowd to get to the door to leave again. And I have I didn't have these, but over the years, some glimpses of walking up a path, toward my car, you know, came more alive in my mind. And then the next thing I remember, I was out of my body. Apparently, I had crashed into a tree. There was this big tree there. The car was there, damaged to the point where you would have assumed the person in there died. When I saw it, my body was leaning against a tree with my legs out like that. My head was cracked open. There was blood. There was a police officer crouching over me. I don't know how long it was because when I tell the story, it just takes a couple of minutes, but it felt like it was in that way. People say there was no time. That's definitely what it felt like.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I think about it's like, wow, it's just here and now. And see, I tune into it. I want to close my eyes and just my body starts to vibrate from the energy. And so I was in the white light. It was all white around me. There, down below, it was nighttime and dark. And
Hmm.
behind me, there was a big circle of a different shade of white. And within it was a full silhouette of, I say a being, it looked like a man, but at the time I did not even know what to make of it. The thing I do remember is how it felt. And like I said, when even now I'm keeping my eyes open. I've learned to keep my eyes open and talk, but it's not always easy because my body's starting to vibrate right now. But I didn't feel a vibrating, but the thing that goes with that, like something is just taking care of me. Something is knowing everything's all right. Again, and everyone has this. There's no way to describe it because part of me wants to say, well, I just knew everything, even though I had no idea what I knew. There was also no need to know anything. It's just everything was
Hmm.
good. Everything was right. My head cracked open was right. The car crashed, cracked, was right. And um, I'm just pausing to try to get more words because I always say pretty much the same thing, but people kind of get it.
That's
Um,
okay.
yeah, no, it's part of my process.
Yeah.
And so the good thing is I've learned to tune into that energy and hold that there for other people. And it helps them
Hmm.
heal and they feel it in the same way. It's really cool.
Hmm.
So the being behind me said, you have to go back. Your father wants you to stay. I did know right at that moment the father was not my physical father, but God. So I went back into my body and came to 3 days later in the hospital.
Unbelievable.
It is. And part of it being unbelievable is part of my journey because nowadays
Hmm.
everyone knows about me. Not everyone, but most people. Even in the most common TV show, people say, oh, he had a near death experience like it's nothing, everyone knows about it. So, but I did not know what to make of it. And some things possibly something as cool as my near death experience. So I was living in Colorado. I came back to New York to visit. I got better enough. I went to Colorado. I was still kind of trying to find my way. And my mom kind of bribed me to move back to the Northeast again. She bought me a new Jeep. And so I was in my dad's electrical contracting business, which was very lucrative and something I knew since I was a child. So it was easy to do. One day, this woman shows up at my door out of nowhere. Again, no cell phones, no text to know she's coming. And she said, I'm the sister of a friend of yours from Colorado. And her sister happened to be one of the people I kind of mentioned my experience to, not using the word near death experience. And she said, my sister told me some really interesting things about you. And right away, she said, I know someone who teaches about what happens after we die.
Oh,
And
wow.
she introduced me. But when she said die, that's the first time I even really thought of it like I died.
Hmm.
I didn't even put that together in my mind.
Unbelievable. I
Yeah.
just wanted to step back for just one
Okay.
moment before you go on there because, yeah, I'm like looking at what did I write down here? So I wrote down here, what got me is the time that you left the party,
Yes.
got in your friend's car,
So when
and
I
then
left the party that
remembered,
time, I got in my mom's little Ford Bobcat. So
right,
the second time I left the party, I was driving. That was the thing.
right.
Yeah.
So the first time, though, when you remembered that
Yes.
your sister needed the vehicle,
Yeah.
to me, when I'm here from the outside, I'm like, well, isn't that weird? Because your first instinct was to go with the friend,
Yeah.
but then something gave you that. little no, you need to go back because your sister needs that vehicle tomorrow. So
Yeah,
then it kind of, what am I trying to say? It kind of led you up. It kind of pushed you in the direction to be able to have that NDE.
it's interesting you should say that because it just the other day I realized because a lot of my things that have happened in my life are women leading me to something. And I realized, wow, my sister kind of leaded me, led me to my near death experience in that way. And it was
Yes.
like, so that's really cool. You picked up on that because I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. It's the first time that crossed my mind. That's
Yeah,
great.
because I like to look at the things that happened to you prior to, like
Yeah.
even with my own, I looked at my own and thought, wow, that's really strange. There were little instances that if you look back now, you knew that it was a path for you to take. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then your second one was second thing I want to say was the glimpses that you're having now that you
Yeah.
didn't pick up on back then. So it's I know what that feels like,
Yeah.
when you can kind of actually feel and see those things before it happened.
Yeah. I mean,
Something.
there's just an endless thing to learn in the spirit. And in
Hmm.
so many ways, it's like I get there, it's like, oh, I knew this, but I just didn't register it. Or it's not like it's such a surprise because it's like, of course. And I had some very profound experiences before my near death experience. And it's amazing that I just kind of, okay, back to work. Okay.
So,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Lawrence, when you say that, so did I.
Yeah.
And so did a lot of other NDErs.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it's like I just was writing out my story again. I journal it and I notice a lot of things that were happening prior
Yeah.
to mine as well. What do you think of that? And why do you think that happened?
Um, there's this book called The Whack on the Side of the Head, and it's about
That's good.
NLP and some business stuff, but that's what it was. I needed a whack on the side of the head
Mhm.
to get with the program, basically. And, you know, I guess I'm a firm believer that we cannot be off our path, but I talk about it like it's a multi-lane highway. There's different lanes. I was in the wrong lane and I
I
needed to
see.
get in the right lane. And
Hmm.
but even my partying and stuff like that, there was something in there where I was looking for something beyond the normal consciousness. And even though those are, artificial ways to get there and is nowhere near as cool as the real thing. I want to tell people who use drugs to try to do that. The real way is so much more. Like even that, my whole thing starts to expand and I just want to, oh man, there's just so much love and it's so wonderful there.
Can you take us into that feeling that you had? So you were hovering over your body
Yes.
and you were able to see the police officer, you sitting up in the wrecked car.
Yes. So I wouldn't say hovering because it seemed pretty far away. It was like
Okay.
up here. And um, I don't know, yeah, can I? Yes. So there is, so part of my understanding, and so I work with people now, and part of it is how can you do something in your mind to let your unconscious and these other parts you go to this place. And there's a certain amount of love there that everyone seems to understand. And it can be within any tradition. Um, and in the spirit, there are all these beings. So there is Jesus, there is Abraham, there's Moses, there's Buddha, there's, uh, Muhammad, all these things and they're there to help us. But usually what works for us is something we feel an affinity towards. So I tell people do not dismiss the religion you were born into because it's most likely those prophets and saints and other masters that are associated with that are there helping you. But we do have to get our mind in there somehow. Then we have to do a whole lot of letting go, because once our mind gets there, then that's too small, because it's this endless thing and our mind can't get that. So it is,
Hmm.
but it's a step there, just let go a whole lot. Step there, let go. And always, if you think you've gotten to the highest place, you are wrong. There's further to go. And in a lot of ways, my near that experience was a small thing compared to some of the things I experience now. Because in one way, it was everything. In another way,
Hmm.
it's like my awareness and my openness to it is so much greater than it was then.
So you believe you had a basically like a pre-birth plan to come here. All of this was to happen. Maybe you were, you know, maybe in your pre-birth plan you said, "Hey, if I'm too far off the path, then I need a whack in the side of the head,
Yeah.
basically,
Yep.
to get me back on my path," which it then did lead you back
Yeah.
that way. Isn't that something?
It's quite amazing. I mean, I do, like I said, I think everyone is always on their path. There's the thing of different lanes is really a good
Yeah,
analogy, because some
actually, I
people
like
are just
that too.
moving so slow, and I mean, some
Hmm.
people are pulled over on the side of the road, but they have to be on their path, and there is that unfoldment. And see, you're asking me, I'm trying to connect into my intuition, and I start feeling the energy. So
Yeah, I feel your energy big time.
that's good.
Yeah,
So
big
one
time.
thing I realized really recently, the importance of the letting go, because so I have these different spiritual masters that come and work with me. Now, so one thing that happened before my near-death experience is I saw my grandfather, who had passed away a little while before that. And that was maybe 2 years before my near-death experience. And I saw him in the movie theater. And he was sitting in the
Hmm.
front row. I was like in the 10th row, but I on purpose walked this way. I saw him. It was him. He was a unique looking guy. And again, I didn't make that big of a deal out of it. Today, I would have gone and talked to him right then. I just walked by, and I, but now sometimes he comes to me, and I realize it's either not him or not just him, because he looks very bright yellow with this certain energy. And part of my love for my grandfather is there. But I know it's more than him. Okay. So my understanding is when we pass away, we go into these kind of groups or schools, and then we're with other people. And a lot of times when our past loved ones come, they're purely spiritual. So it's a little different. But so he's part of the group that works with me now. And then yesterday, this kind of blue guy was there, and it was like, oh, this is a whole other thing. And I'm really glad. But I noticed as soon as I wanted to solidify it in my mind, part of it started to become not that. And then part of my mind wanted to go to the solidified image when the original image wasn't so solidified, like, oh, I know that person, but you don't really get to know them. And so I do it again, and I keep reminding myself, let go of what you think you know. And so,
Hmm.
in one way,
Hmm.
not knowing how to label my near death experience was good practice for what I've been trying to do for years and years, of that letting go and letting, like, some other being just showed up here. And it's like my mind wants to go. Is that Archangel Gabriel? It's like, well, something like that. But then you just let that happen without needing to turn it into looking like a human, first of all, and then just feeling that energy.
What do you think the light was that you saw with the human form in it?
Um, so when I so when that woman showed up at my door, she introduced me to a Mevlevi sheikh who
Hmm.
follows the teachings of Jalaluddin Rumi. And some of the words, so Rumi, the poet that a lot of people know of,
Yeah.
wrote volumes and volumes of these amazing spiritual books, and people take little bits out of it to do the poems. And so the Sheikh talked about the ocean of divine love and benevolence. And then even when I say that, it just feels like that white light. I think the white light radiating off the being. So he started to first talk to me about Mary and how open Mary was to God's love. And then that description of how open Mary was, that's what happened to me in my near death experience. So I was opened up in that way. And then he started to talk about Jesus. And when he did, then I knew that that being behind me was Jesus. So the light radiating off of Jesus was the light of Christ, the light radiating off of Jesus.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And did you see yourself at all
I
aside from not
not my
the
body.
hurt
Yeah.
you? Yeah, but did you see you?
Well, I did see me like the way I see me now, like I see little bits of my kind of my body. So when people say, "Did you have a body?" I think I did. So I didn't
Okay.
take the time to register and feel it, but it did look like I had a body. Yes.
Yeah, I always wonder that. I didn't see me. So every time I talk to someone, I like to know, did you see yourself?
Yeah.
Because you can see your body, but then if you're not that body, what are you, right?
That's the thing. It's your
Hmm.
soul and stuff. So, but it is. So for me, even seeing behind me, when someone first said, "Oh, so you could see behind you," it's like, I don't know. I didn't think of that. It's just like it. It wasn't even really seeing. It's just being one with it. See, and I tune into it, and then yes, I can see myself there because it is knowing everything and being a
Hmm.
part of this wonderful thing that I do want to just close my eyes and feel the energy. And it then it then it's like, what she's saying doesn't even matter. Like, who cares? Like, it's just so good. You know? Yeah,
Lawrence,
that's kind of what it
how
is.
did how did your NDE change your view on life and death?
Um, that's a good question. Well, I was in my early 20s, so death was not really something I really thought
Mhm.
about.
We weren't scared
Now,
of nothing, were we?
no, that's the thing. So, but now when people ask me about death, I know it's kind of like a party.
Mhm.
So my dad
Mm,
passed away a few years ago,
okay.
and so the last 6 months of his life, he was really suffering. The first thing that happened is he lost his voice and he was so social. And so he was so
Mm.
frustrated. But when he passed away, he was like, whoosh, fly around like a little kid, like back
Oh,
and forth, like so happy. And it was like it's a party. And then, see, again, I close my eyes and tune into that. There's even the higher levels of spirit that are just it's just blissful, and I'm trying to connect to that and think about what you're asking me. I can't even think because it's just like, this is so great. What is she talking about?
you're just right in the flow, aren't you? You're in the flow. That is the exact word. I love it. I
I've
think
learned
that's
how to
great.
do that. And yeah, no, it's easy when I'm doing something like this or when I'm working, but it's not always, we have karma and we're here to learn things. So it's kind of set
Mhm.
up that you can't always do that.
So, would you say that you're no longer afraid of dying?
I'm definitely not afraid of being dead. Yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, both my parents didn't suffer for a very long time. My mom, a very short time, actually.
Oh, that's
My
good.
dad,
Yeah.
he suffered for longer than I would like to. I don't want to be suffering for a long time, but the part of
Yeah.
being dead, no, uh, I don't want to say looking forward to, but when I think of it, it makes me happy.
Aw, that's nice to
Yeah.
hear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are afraid,
Yes.
I think, and a lot of people I found are afraid of the life review. A lot of them. So,
Yeah.
I think maybe they feel like they're being judged on
Well, I
that
think,
particular level.
yeah, that's looking at it from our human level. Our soul looks at it differently. So I didn't have a life review like you're talking about, but in one way, the way I say, I kind of know everything. It it is like that, and I understand. I mean, so when I was writing my paper for my doctoral treatise, the instructions were look at your life and find something that works for you and write about that basically. But, it was a little more involved than that simple instruction, but that was definitely the first line. And I decided to look at my whole life. And I know they were talking about look at your life right now, but it was kind of cool because I did get to see my life and how it led to where I was. And something very interesting happened when I was in the middle of writing that paper. My dad called me one day, which is what I don't know how many times before that he called me since I was a grown up. And he even said, like, I was in a meeting at my daughter's school and I left because there wasn't a good signal in there. And he said, I'm interested in what you're writing your paper about. And I actually thought, like, who is this person? But I also realized I was unfolding in a certain way where I could really see the benefits of my life. And my dad was not the nicest guy when I was growing up. So,
Hmm.
somehow it seemed to be perfect that he called me right then.
Oh, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Why do you think that you were sent back from the light?
Um, people no one asked me that directly that way, but it's, some people say, did you have a choice? It just seemed like it was what was to be. So again, you're asking a question that's from the human perspective, and then from the soul
Mm-hmm.
perspective, it's just like, that's what it is. So I mean, I know my spiritual awareness has grown so much. I had two kids since then. There's so many things that have happened in my life. And um, so, yeah, I mean, I do get to help a lot of people. There's some people that are very, very sick that I help. It's really a cool thing, actually.
Do you think that maybe you were sent back due to that? That maybe you were needed here?
Um, yes. Well, again, I could easily go there, but it is in the spirit. It's just the way it is. So see, when I say that, my energy opens up and I'm here and it's now. And then it's like, could could that be? That's pretty arrogant in a certain way. But yeah, I mean, I help people that would be, being not happy campers at all, and they get very healthy. So I think going through that experience for me and for them is important. So our soul learns things through experiences and our qualities, and not so much in a linear way. So when
Mm-hmm.
you say that, yeah, that was something I was supposed to experience.
Well, what I think, like what I'm thinking of when I ask that question is if
Yeah,
you didn't have that NDE, would your life have gone a different way? You know?
yeah.
So that's how I try. And I mean, we'd never know because we're not,
There's no
you
way to
did.
know. Yeah.
There's no way to know. But then it makes me think, well, it woke you up, you got the whack on the head. So obviously it was for a reason, right?
Well, it didn't quite wake me up, but something in me got in line with the program, just like that woman
Yeah.
showed up. She
Yeah.
introduced me to this teacher. I studied with him. I just kept meeting people that were telling me how to behave better, I guess. But in a way, it's still all about that thrill, similar to when I did the Molotov cocktail. But this is so much better. And it's like, this is where it's at, this discovery of God, the light, our source, whatever you call it. It's like, and I like to change the words around because sometimes God sounds great. Sometimes like, no, that's not the word for me right now. So, and I like the word source, the beloved some people use. These are some words I
I
use.
as well.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did your path as a healer begin? And were you called or guided to help others?
Something in me was definitely because things happened that in the same way my mind did not understand my near death experience, I helped people. One time, one of my friends twisted his ankle. Without even thinking about it, I put my hands on him. And so it's something that happened that I definitely noticed. My hands become warm when I touch people. That still happens. I have a little more control over it now, but so I reached for his ankle and it went from hurting And we were both like, what the, like, what happened? I prayed for someone one time and I mean, something that happened that was, I had kind of started using my healing abilities and I offered someone to do a phone session. And as soon as they started talking to me, I saw there was a Native American healing guide with her. And I didn't even believe in Native healing guides, but I saw this being there and she talked and talked and talked. I said, there's this Native American healing guide there with you. And she said, I know, someone told me, but I could see she was afraid. And I said, you don't understand, you're afraid, but this guide's there to help you. And her energy opened up and it was on the phone, so I couldn't see her, but I could see spiritually. And she said, the pain is gone. And she had pain all through her body for years. Things like that kept happening. And part of me still was like, really? Like, I don't even believe this. So it took a while. But now I'm still amazed and blown away when some things happen. Uh, there's, yeah, I mean, I see so many cool, interesting things, how people are working through their path and on their path. And um, it just, it's just great.
You said you had spiritual connections prior to your NDE,
Yeah.
but thinking about your healing abilities now, is that something that you had brought back or had start after your NDE? Or did you always have that? Or did you bring back any other gifts as
Um,
well?
it's, there's, that's a good question. It's a way, how do I look at it in my mind and understand
Mhm.
that? So some things happen to me that, like I saw my grandfather. When I was very
Yeah.
young, there used to be these three little angels around me all the time, and I just assumed everyone. And I don't know if I mentioned it to anyone, but of course, little kids, people would dismiss that. I
Of
could see
course.
the color around people in their energy field since I was very
Mhm.
young, and I just assumed everyone could. Um, so yes, I was editing an interview I did, and someone else did you have any other skills? So to me, this is just everything. So, but sometimes I know very specific things about people, not usually, but sometimes I'll know medical things specifically. I definitely get to see past lives a lot. I can
Mm.
see there, there's sometimes I just see so many cool things. There's this family I work with, some of the people in the family, and they just a lot came together to learn a lot about witchcraft actually. And now
Mm.
that they're working with me, it's their whole family. It's kind of interesting how they're all connected so much. And it's
Int-
all a lot whiter and lighter around them, and they're not going into negative things nearly as much. And then it just looks like very white. And then sometimes, basically, by the energy they put in, it gets to the point where this positive colors start to flow in there. And it's like, oh, that's because they're balancing what's going on. I know that sounds a little vague, but it's very clear in my mind when that happens. And so I do journal write and I make notes about the session. So I was writing about that and going, wow, that is just so cool.
So you think that it's just like something that gradually started increasing as you became deeper into your healing?
Yes, and a lot of it happened learning from other people. So,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
encourage people to understand that because in one way, I'm trying to learn something that's beyond what I know and I
Hmm.
can let go. But a lot of times there's teachers that can point things out to me. So that helps a whole lot.
You just keep learning.
Yeah, it's
We
important
never stop learning though, do we?
now, especially
No.
about, yeah, it's best not to do that. If you like your
Hmm.
career, learn more about it. But spiritually,
That's right.
there's always more to learn.
Absolutely. You use a variety of healing modalities like polarity therapy and
Yes.
biofeedback. Are
Yes.
you able to share how these work and what drew you to them?
So both of those things I don't use very much because I don't normally see people in person anymore.
Okay.
Um, but there are so usually things just kind of line up intuitively, but to explain the process, it would be like if someone in one way, I don't, people tell me if they're diagnosed with something, but a lot of times that doesn't matter. I do have people tell me it because then I can connect with them easier. But then it's almost like there's lists of things like, is it an acupuncture point? Is it something in their nervous system, their skeletal
Uh-huh.
system, their muscle system, past lives, through their family? So there's all these lists of things that it could be. And then, but usually it'll go like this. So I'll get like there'll be one, two, three, four, five, and I want to get as many up the road as possible. Sometimes it's just the first one, and then I'll know what that is, and then it
Hmm.
is just hold the light there and be open to what the spiritual beings that work with me and the ones that are coming present to work with that person. And then ask them, how can that unfold for this person to be closer to God, basically? And
Hmm.
usually within there, there's well-being on a physical, emotional, mental, financial, relationships, all those things.
I'm wondering also
Yeah.
if you still, you're a pastor at a church, correct?
Yes, a minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a minister. Okay. And is that still a Jewish church or?
No, no, the no, definitely
Okay.
Christian. Yeah.
Christian based. Okay. And what do the people at the church think about all of this? Or
They're
do they
very
know?
open to it. That's I
Oh,
like to be
nice.
around people that are more open to it than, but a lot of people are open to it these days. Like, just it's everywhere in culture. Star Trek, Star Wars, it is
Yeah.
like using the Force. And even in casual sitcoms, people mention energy or near death experiences. So everyone's kind of open to it all. Oh, it's so much more. I mean, one thing, when I first started my practice for years, most of the people that came to see me were women. And now it's like half and half most of the time, which is,
Oh,
I
wow.
think it's great.
Are there any memorable stories from your healing practice that you can share with us?
Yeah, there's so many
I
memorable
bet.
ones. Just pausing a minute to think of more current
No
ones, but
problem.
yeah, so I published my second book, but it was the first book about my near-death experience and all these experiences not too long ago. And in the process of writing it, I remember I was thinking to myself, oh, I didn't have any of these miracle healings. And I was like, you know, whining to myself. But the truth is, there are miracles. Some of them are just bigger. They seem bigger. So, and was saying to myself, I need to up my game because it helps sell my work and sell my books and stuff. So, but then I got a text from this woman who said, I want to make another appointment. The energy shifted and I'm walking, and I haven't walked in 8 years. And I remembered who it was, and I was very skeptical about the text because it sounds so amazingly positive that, I wanted to be more scientific about it. Um, but all I remember during her session, her saying she was pretty much homebound, but a lot of yellow light filled her apartment a lot. And, you know, I remember saying to myself, oh, her healing journey has begun. And so she sent a follow up text saying, you know, I've been walking every day for like an hour. She uses canes or something, and she can go to the supermarket. She needed to use the cart, but so that was pretty cool. That's a recent one.
So
Um,
there you go. You got yours.
that was like another miracle, like that. I wanted a big thing like that, but yeah, a lot of times they're smaller. Well, I had someone just the other day, and it was this person asking me to work on their father, and they had had a stroke, and
Oh,
they're going for an MRI to the doctor to find out what it was. So when something like that happens, I usually suggest a session before, a session during, and a session after. But in the session before, I saw something shift in the person's head, and I go, I wonder if that fixed it. And then, you know, somehow it went from they thought it was like a permanent problem to, oh yeah, his brain's fine. And it's just, I forget what they called it. It was like a mini stroke or something instead of,
Oh, yeah.
so, um, that,
Interesting.
that was just this week, a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
That must feel so good to be able to help people like that,
it
right?
does. And it's so good to get physical confirmation because sometimes
Yeah.
I know I help people and then I never hear what happened.
Lawrence, what kind of like when you're doing as you said earlier, you said that you don't do many in person. So what is it that you do now?
I mostly work on video, but sometimes just on the phone. It's really fine either way for me.
Mhm.
Oh, that reminds me, I was talking to someone because they had their, I sell packages of sessions, and this person bought 4 sessions over 2 months, and she had one yesterday, but the time, so 2 weeks before that, I don't remember what, I think she, I don't, even- I don't even remember what. She had a lot of pain in her body. And it's just so cool to me, once I see someone's energy field expand and stuff, I said, "How are you feeling?" She just started laughing. She goes, "The pain's gone." And um, so that was cool.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
yes, it is holding this energy. And a lot of times I do hold my hands up, but it is connecting into that energy that I became a lot more aware of during my near death experience and kind of seeing what unfolds. And like I said, it can come up that there's specific things to focus on. A lot of times it's just like hold that energy there and allow the person to unfold. And then at some point they get it. So there's the heart, the gut, and the head, they start to work together and kind of light up. And it would be like chakras, like people see that with the light, but those are the three major ones I work with. And then it's like, oh, that person probably feels better now. So I ask them and they say yes. Sometimes it could be I'll see something very specific, like I'm just remembering there was someone who had this thing like this separating the energy from their left shoulder through their heart center. And I didn't know what it was, but I could just, again, hold the light there for this balance. Um, so I'm just trying to think because, see, when I see that, I know what the balance
Mhm.
is and what techniques to use, but I didn't make a mental note of what it was. So when you're asking me, I'm trying to see, what balance, like what system? So I've learned a lot about acupuncture, uh,
Mhm.
polarity therapy is based on Ayurvedic medicine. I know a lot about that. I know pretty much about Western medicine. And, so any of these systems can come in and that's how the things are shown. And then we
Mhm.
just ask, and I say we, it's me and these spiritual beings ask for balance and alignment. I'm assuming somehow whatever system comes present has to do with the person's karma and what culture or religion or something like that that they feel an affinity towards and that their karma is, they have good karma there basically.
Can you feel my energy?
uh yeah, well, let me see, because my energy is just way stronger right now, so I was tuning into that. But yes, I could. Okay, so yeah, just take a breath. And so I mean, some of this, there's a certain alignment that's outside of what you know. Okay. And a lot of
Mhm.
times, like I said, we can connect to things through something we feel an affinity towards. A lot of times it's a culture. Like I like Japanese food, so that would be a clue of
Mhm.
knowing that, connecting. Or, I happen to meet that Islamic teacher and I loved a lot of the things in that tradition too. So,
Mhm.
um, but there's, okay, there you go. So if you breathe into your heart. So I was going to say something, but it's basically it's outside of what you know and try to realize that. And then it's like, well, how do you know what it is? It's like you might not, but there's an alignment beyond what you know. That's outside of what you think you should be doing, what you think your role is in this world, what your purpose is, what your family life is, what your job is, all that stuff. And then it's like, can you just let that line up? And something in your mind wants to keep lining those things up. So it's kind of like your lineup that you think it should be is a little, and to the right is pretty good because that's more spiritual. But in this part, it's like down the center. Okay,
Hmm.
so just let yourself feel that alignment down your center. So do you have any children?
I do. I have two boys in their 30s.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, there's a little girl I'm seeing around you. I don't know who that
Oh
is,
my
but
God. What? Oh, wow. You just made my heart patter. Thank you.
well, how old are you? You look pretty young to have kids in your 30s.
Well, I was a little wild like you were when I was younger, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be 53 this year.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I
Mhm.
have a 21-year-old daughter, so people, luckily, they don't realize how old I am most of the time. There you go. So breathe into your heart again there. So there is, in one way, that explains something because I mean, it's normal for us to think our function is in the world. And then it's like, well, no, your function, it is to be a parent, to be a mother. That's important, but it is expand out and then it's on the left and right side. So, I mean, the cool thing is your things are kind of pulled over to the right, which usually indicates more spiritual.
Hmm.
So that just started to line up. You might feel some shaking.
Hmm.
You take a breath in and out of your mouth. So yeah, there's something with one of your sons where he was, think he was your father in another lifetime.
Wow.
So of course, you know, we have to be in charge of our kids, but sometimes there's karma there that's different.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
I can hear something in my ears all of a sudden.
cool.
It's sounds a little bit like crackling.
Okay,
Hmm.
that's good. Yeah, that's the sound of one of the levels in spirit there. So yeah, just yeah, breathe into your heart. Try to not put too much focus on what it is.
Oh wow. You've got strong energy. Holy.
Holy moly. So yeah, breathe like this. Open your mouth wider. Let some sound out. Try to not try to try to let it go, figuring out what it is, and just let it kind of move around again. So I was editing this other interview, and after I did sign like this with a person, and they were saying, "It feels like I'm 18 again." You know, so that's kind of what it is. There you go. So I mean, you look very young, and you have something very youthful about you that's really really nice. So it, it's kind of like how can you be youthful and be a grown up? A lot of grown up things are just doing. They
Mm,
don't, you know, we tend to think we have to be serious and feel to struggle, but the truth is you can have fun. That's
right.
something you
Yeah.
can do really well. So that's good.
That's something I actually need as well, to be
Yeah.
honest, is fun.
So there's, yeah, feel into your belly, into your gut. So there's something in there that, that I call the basic self. Some people call it the lower self, but that's lower is not really inaccurate. It is kind of a lower vibration because it's more physical. There you go. So, but it's okay to have fun and take care of your responsibilities. Right,
Yeah,
that's right.
that is,
Yeah,
I can
feeling.
feel tingling everywhere.
Yeah,
Interesting.
cool. Feel into your heart center a little bit. And you could say like, "I am awesome."
I am awesome.
Yeah, say that a few times.
I
But
am aligned.
yeah,
I am
yeah. Well,
happy.
aligned is a little serious for this because it's awesome would be better. I'm really cool or whatever, things like that.
I'm awesome. Oh, I am happy. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, things are lining up. So you have some majestic. You might have been a Native American kind of person in another lifetime, and you were. I mean, it'd be unlikely you were actually a Native American, but it's something like that. So but it's
I
pretty
am a
cool.
Native American now.
Oh, you are? Oh, cool.
Mm. I'm African, Native American,
Wow.
Cherokee Indian, and Irish.
An interesting combination. So you have all that stuff there. But so, yeah. And um, what do you know
Wow,
what part of Africa?
I don't. I know my
Yeah.
family lineage only back to the slave days, to be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
When my family came over, I'm a Canadian, but my family is 7 generations. We've gone back American
Okay.
to Oklahoma.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So you have, yeah, there's some like royal lineage through your African karma that so
Mm,
right now it's coming like this and going around, but you could let it come in straight. Okay.
yeah.
Do you have some water there by any chance?
I do.
Be good to drink a little bit now.
One thing I do have is I'm going through menopause
Okay.
and I have what they call frozen shoulder. So I cannot lift my shoulder
Oh,
up. So it's went from my right arm and now it's in my left arm. And it is extremely painful.
yeah.
And I've been working on it, but it's not working.
Yeah. Well, so take a breath. So yeah, once that the African thing came in straight, you start to release stuff. So, but just breathe into your heart and be gentle with yourself. Right? There you go. You can try to move your left shoulder now, see how it feels.
Oh, I can get it up higher. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I can. Oh my goodness.
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
And
Like I
is your right
couldn't
one
lift.
good?
Oh, wow. Pardon me?
There you go. And then try your right shoulder a bit too.
This one is fine, my right, but it's the left. I can get it up higher now, though. Weird.
Good.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah. Huh.
So yeah, just make sure you drink water throughout the day.
I will. You're so I can feel tingles
Good.
everywhere.
Good. That's cool.
And as I told you when we first started today, I was listening to you before we had this interview,
Yeah.
and I was eyes closed. But when I was listening to you, I actually seen a man walk by my vision in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
and he was an older man. And another thing I seen was an older gentleman came to me when I was listening to you, and
Yeah.
he had like white hair, and it was kind of a little bit curly. Right? It was white, and I think he had a very light mustache, but he held his gaze in my mind's eye for so long, and I had written it down to tell you about it
Okay,
because
cool.
I was like, "Do you know this person?" But that's what happened to
Yeah,
me when I was listening to you. I
cool.
actually seen this man, and I
Yeah,
have never held someone so long before in my mind's eye.
right.
Like, he just
So
stood
you're
there.
kind of letting it go now, which is good. So there's the movement. And again, in doing the spiritual things, our mind would love to, I want to know who that is, but they're like that man came to tell you something, and now you're just kind of getting it now and you're letting it go. It's like, what is it? You might not know right
Mhm.
now, or you might. So, but that's okay too.
I don't know yet. I actually thought it might have something to do with you.
It's possible.
That's exactly what my mind went to when it was happening, and that's why I had written it down to make
Oh,
sure I
cool.
told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's possible. So what I heard was one of my teachers, but I don't think it was a teacher on the physical level because I'm not sure
Mhm.
who it is. And even when I
Very
say that, then I feel
interesting.
it moving. Yeah. So, so in the way that it is almost like guessing what it is and then feeling the
Mhm.
energy. So if the
Mhm.
things keep moving, that's like, oh, that's on track. So that is on track. And there's, okay, let's see. Yeah, there's, so yeah, it looks like you and I had a past life together. It's really strong. A lot of stuff's
Mhm.
moving. So, but that person was in that past life.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like something is like moving in here right now. That is
Good.
very interesting.
Yeah. Well, healing. It's cool.
You're healing me. Oh,
Well,
wow.
I'm facilitating the healing.
Oh, that feels good. Interesting. The little girl that you spoke about, which I
Yes.
find that you would never have known that I had lost a child,
Oh,
um, back in my 20s,
yeah.
due to miscarriage.
Yeah.
And something that was really interesting, is when my ex had died,
Yeah.
which was, I think, 7, 8 years ago now, um, he came to me and he apologized for whatever he did. And then, as he was being led away by, I believe, 2 spirit guides
Yeah.
behind him because they were foggy and couldn't see them, but he was moving back. He
Yeah.
had said to me, "Before I go, I want you to know, wait till you see our daughter."
Wow.
And
That
that
gives me
was
the
it.
chills.
Yeah, so I
Cool.
was like, uh, "That is incredible," and you brought that up, and you would
Yeah.
never have known that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Nobody knew that really, and do
So
you wanna
I'm
know
going to give
something
you a little
else?
exercise.
Neither did
Yeah.
he know that. He didn't
Oh,
know.
wow.
He didn't know.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So there, when I work with, I don't even call them chakras, but we have our conscious mind, our heart, where we start to connect to the spirit, and our gut. Okay, so these are three, the gut's like our unconscious and physical. This is more our self, and then our heart's our spiritual part. So if you feel inclined, if you just tune into these parts one by one, and from time to time, it'll help line up a lot of this stuff for you.
Okay.
So
I will do that.
there's part of your majesty that you don't quite understand. Okay.
Mhm.
And the way,
There's a lot I don't quite understand.
yeah,
Absolutely. Mhm.
and there's a real lot I don't understand too, and that's a good
Mhm.
thing because there's always so much more. And then
That's
it's
right.
like, so you do your responsibilities, but your being is majestic. Okay.
Hmm.
That would
Thank
be
you.
a quick, easy way for you to know kind of your purpose of letting this line up. And the head, the heart, and the gut would help you connect to that more.
Wow. You were definitely meant to do this work, Laurence.
Yes, it's cool.
You're amazing.
Thank
You've
you.
written books and you offer services. Do you
Yes.
want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I recently published my book that includes my near-death experience and like the first 10 years of my discovering my healing abilities and studying with some teachers. They're on Amazon if people want to buy them. And
Hmm.
I do offer my services, and you can, my website is laurencebrock.com. And on there, there's a way to make an appointment, or you could text or send me a message in WhatsApp, and it's in the US, so
Okay.
+1, and then
Hmm.
732-567-6388.
And we will have all that information in the description box below.
Great. Yeah, I mean, if you
Laurence.
feel anything drawn towards
Hmm.
me, it's so worth it because in one way, I just think it's the coolest thing. And, it is me doing it, but it is like to watch people unfold is such a gift and so miraculous. It's really amazing.
It is miraculous. It really is. For the listeners who do resonate with your message, what's the best way for them to do some inner work for themselves?
Yeah. So meditation and then journal writing, those would be the thing. The breathing exercise I developed for my doctoral treatise, the breathing, it's really good. So there are videos on my YouTube channel with all
Okay.
that stuff in it. One of the playlists is self-care. And there's
Okay.
all my recommended things in there. And the book I wrote, called Autobiography of a Healer, has a detailed description of how I discovered these tools. And there's also a great manifesting technique in there that I think
Okay.
is really good for people to do because there's part of it of really understanding your inner process in
Hmm.
order to manifest something. It's not just like, I mean, you can manifest stuff with it, but it's not like, oh, I want a lot of money. It's like what's going to really be joyful and happy in you when you get the money, kind of thing. So,
That's right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Lawrence, based on what you learned during your NDE,
yeah.
what is one truth or insight you wish that everyone would know?
Well, there's three things. One is that you are loved and the importance of love. The other one is the importance of realizing you don't know and there's always more to do. And then the other one is meditate and generate. And even if you don't think you're doing a good job at any of those things, still stick with it. And especially meditation, because I've been meditating pretty regularly for 40 years or so. And some days it just like it doesn't seem like I get it, but
Hmm.
some days my mind's just chatting and chatting, and then all of a sudden the energy comes in. So I knew I was doing it right, but my mind did not perceive it. So I say, even, just take the time to be with yourself, to connect to God or source, however you connect to the spirit. And, you know, when I was in school in the master's program, we had to commit to 1 minute a day of meditation, and the doctoral
Mm.
program, 2 minutes a day. So even
Oh,
that
wow.
can make a really big difference.
Mm. Lawrence, thank you so much for
You're so
sharing your
welcome.
journey
Yeah.
and your wisdom you've gained along the way. Hearing how your near death experience has shaped not only your life, but your work as a healer really gives us all something to reflect on. It's been a true pleasure to have you here with us on The Returned.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. And to everyone listening or watching, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Returned. May this story remind you that even in the darkest moments, new purpose and healing can emerge, sometimes in ways we could never even imagine. If this conversation has moved you, or sparks something within you, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need it today. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and keep returning to the truth within you.